Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's 9 o'clock on Friday, and you're watching me, Deb Burton, host of Friday Friends, where every Friday for the last 6+ years, I have brought you information and resources that you or someone you know needs to know about. And today I am talking with my friend Leticia Torres from CareForth regarding this being Disability Pride Month and the impact of caregiving and the resources available for those who are caring for individuals who have disabilities. Such an important conversation. I am really looking forward to this talk today. So please, I know that we all know someone who is a caregiver or knows someone who is a caregiver. So hit the like button, the share button, the follow button, all those social media cues that say, hey, check this out, because this is a fun and important conversation that we need to have more frequently. Now, as you all know, RI Elder Info is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we could not bring you Friday Friends without the support of our donors and our sponsors. So a huge thank you to United Healthcare, Age Friendly Rhode Island College, and a special thank you to CareForth. Here's a message from CareForth.
Caregiving, first of all, is the most selfless act. You're just on 24/7. In order to do all that, you need someone to make sure that you, as the caregiver, are taking care of yourself. And nobody cares for your family like you do. You love them. The whole program is amazing. To get paid for something that you would do even if you weren't getting paid. You're not just one person, but you have a whole team behind you. And we're all here to help.
Hi, how are you this morning?
Hi, Deb, and hi, everyone at Friday Friends. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I am so excited to have a conversation with you about Disability Pride Month. And, sometimes we don't often think about there are individuals who are caring for folks across the age spectrum who have different challenges. And I think it's important to recognize that, as well as recognize that individuals who have different challenges are such an important part of our world, and we need to consider how is our world adapting and growing and benefiting with having a more inclusive society. So please tell me how CareForth can support individuals with disabilities.
So our shared living program, Right at Home by CareForth, it actually empowers individuals to receive personalized care by a trusted family member or friend that resides with them. Beyond helping families and navigating the program, CareForth provides ongoing care with management and educational tools, and also clinical support for both the individual and caregiver. Again, it's a caregiving support program, so we help work with alongside families every step of the way by helping them build confidence to actually take care of the consumer. We have great educational tools as well as a great clinical team that is there for the caregiver to support the consumer as best as possible. They have access to resources and other tools that they have ongoing support from our care team here at CareForth, which is great because, again, sometimes the caregivers, they need assistance or they need, other resources that maybe we can connect them to, alongside working with great organizations like The Point and the CCAPS here in Rhode Island and other great organizations that we work with. We also work with great other clinical partners such as Revive, if somebody needs some counseling, whether it's the caregiver or the consumer. So we help, give them other community resources that they may need available. So we connect them. We also are there just ongoing support if maybe somebody needs help finding a specialist, or they just have a question in regards to the consumer that they are taking care of. So here at CareForth, we support those individuals whether they have a cognitive or physical disability over the age of 18.
So say, for example, like in the summertime, I think we hear maybe more often of the unusual accident. Somebody was playing around at the family cookout and thought they could do the backflip on the trampoline, or they dove into the lake where they thought it was deep, or a car accident, motorcycle accident. And obviously they go to the hospital and get that immediate treatment. But when they come home, are you able to really help support those caregivers? Because just like that person maybe had never had a disability before and they're learning how to take care of themselves in that new body, can you help educate the caregivers how to support them to do that?
Yes. So, with if something like that occurs, and the primary care doctor says, this person needs assistance at home, they need a living caregiver, or they need a full-time caregiver. With our program, it's Medicaid funded, so they would have to apply for Medicaid and the LTSS program before, we, send our team for support. So it is a process, but once that process is complete and they are eligible and they meet criteria, then we're able to support them on, medication management, maybe our clinical team helps them maybe set up times that they should be taking the medication based off what the doctor says. Sometimes they just need help organization, with, there's other great pharmacies like White Cross, they have the med pack. And sometimes they just need a little assistance, from our care team, just to say, okay, mom should be taking the medication at 9 a.m. They help create a schedule for that individual. So yes, we do ongoing support for our families. It's a process to get approved because we have to submit some eligibility paperwork to the state. And then they are the ones who decide whether this person has got approved for LTSS, and they get approved or denied by the state. But after that, we do the medical the criteria and credentialing if they did get approved. So it is a lengthy process, but yes, once our families, if they do have that disability, whether it's cognitive or physical, it's already approved by LTSS and the state, then we move forward and, best support the caregiver and consumer.
I think that's, so important to highlight the distinction that the actual application process is not in CareForth's hands. That really resides at the state level. But
yes,
once approved,
we do
you can really support that caregiver.
We do help with that. Yes. So we do help with the process of applying for LTSS. But again, ultimately, it's the state that decides whether this individual meets Medicaid requirements.
Got it.
And of course, if the doctor also approves, because it's a whole process, the doctor has to say, okay, this person should be on LTSS based off their disabilities. Again, it could be cognitive or physical. They have to meet financial criteria as well with the state. So ultimately, the state decides whether they get approved or not. After the approval comes back, they need to do the credentialing, which it is a process. The whole thing is a process, but we try to make it as easy as possible. Yes, but we do help apply for Medicaid, and help with the credentialing process. So there is some state requirements in the state of Rhode Island. Yeah, you can't be marital spouse. Also, you have to pass a background check. You also can't be legal financial POA, but you can be a health proxy. And the individual or caregiver needs to pass the state background check. And they have to be over the age of 18. They can't be marital spouse or POA or legal guardian
Okay.
in order
But
to be a
then,
paid caregiver.
so if the individual with the disability, say, I don't know, chooses their friend who's not their spouse, who's not their POA, and they live together, then that friend can receive payment. You know, maybe it's the grandkid who's home for the summer or something like that. They could receive payment for the care that they're going to do anyway, right?
Yeah, as long as they again meet the state requirements. Yes.
Okay. And if they get stuck along the way, you know, sometimes, I don't know, for example, maybe somebody has had a stroke and they're paralyzed on one side and they are kind of over time, you know, maybe losing some of that range of motion. And now that caregiver's like, I'm really not sure how to get their shirt on, or I'm really not sure like how to get them in the shower now that, you know, they've had this decline. Are you able to support them around that kind of change in status?
Yes, of course. Our care team, they go for the first 8 weeks. They go weekly, just to help the families and with transition. And also they give them educational tools as well to better support the caregiver. So we
I
have
love
I think 12,000 courses that, the caregiver can either hear audio or they can visually see it. So we do support them and try to give them educational resources, as well as work with their clinical team, which includes an RN and also a case manager. So they are free to reach out to them during work hours for support
I think that's so important because I get
and
a lot of
guidance.
calls. Yeah, because I get a lot of calls from caregivers who are just, they're really struggling because they're not sure what to do. They don't know how to, you know, execute a certain task. And I love that you provide that support because that's the kind of thing that can really reduce caregiver burnout and that level of frustration that, you know, can lead to some bad outcomes. So that's really important. And it helps
Yeah,
people
that
stay out
is
of nursing
part of
homes.
our mission for sure. Yeah. We
Yeah.
try to keep families home longer as well as best support the caregiver, because that is ultimately our goal, is to
Yep.
help with that caregiver burnout. We have a great clinical team and case management team. They help the caregiver directly. That sometimes they might need a meditation video, and that is something that our team, takes pride in, that we do really care about the caregiver's mental health. And there's other support groups that we refer them to, which there's a great deal of that here in Rhode Island. So super thankful to be part of this community, because caregivers matter, mental health matters. So we're
Amen.
best here to support those individuals and families.
Amen. So if anybody watching has questions, how can they reach out to you? What is the best number for them to call if they want to inquire further?
Yeah, so they can give me a call directly at my work cell, or they can email me at letorres at careforth.com, or they can give me a call at my personal cell, which is 401-662-4928.
Okay. And then they can actually reach out. And see, that's one of the things that I have always appreciated working with you, is that it's not, you know, just call and, you know, press 1 for this and 2 for that and 7 for this and rub your head and pat your belly. That people can call and actually talk to you. Like, that's important. It's like
Yes.
the Rhode Island way. Like, I got someone for that. So this is
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely take pride in that, because I'm a caregiver myself, so I know how, difficult it could be to call like a 1-800 number. So I
Yes.
definitely try to make things, personal, and, if, maybe they don't meet criteria for our program, but I do refer them to other places such as The Point, United Way, which is, there's such a great
Amazing.
team over there. Yeah, amazing. So I send them to you if they, maybe you guys have other resources. So I always
Yeah.
like to refer out if I'm not able to help or best guide the family, because again, sometimes, you know, we just need a little bit of guidance, like where can I go to get this or where can I go to get that. So I definitely take pride in that, and I look forward to speaking to future families if they have any questions. You know, every question matters, so please give me a call and I'll be happy to help.
That is wonderful. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on, because I'm sure your phone must just blow up with calls, texts of folks in need. So I appreciate you taking the time today to have this conversation. I think recognizing our friends and families with disabilities and the caregivers who support them is something that is really important. So I appreciate you coming on.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate you and your segment. I know that you help hundreds of families here in Rhode Island, so I greatly appreciate it for having me and CareForth come on and speak about our program.
Thank you. Everybody, we are blessed that we have the ability to do a lot of things independently. But, you know, there are many folks who bring a lot of different assets that have different abilities, and they have caregivers who need support. There are individuals who maybe started their summer with their body able to do one thing, and now they're finding maybe not so much for a wide variety of reasons. And one of the wonderful things about CareForth is that they can actually provide the training and education and payment for that family caregiver who's going to be supporting that individual with that disability, something that they would be doing anyway, most likely. As long as you meet the criteria, which is really pretty simple. You can't be a spouse, you can't be the financial power of attorney, the individual, or you can't be a guardian, and the individual has to qualify for the Medicaid program here in Rhode Island. Now, they can't, you know, speed up or slow down the state process in that application, but once approved, they can definitely get things going and make sure that you or your loved one is able to receive the support to live the fullest life possible. So, everybody, I am so grateful that you have been able to join us on this last day in July. I look forward to seeing you all again next week. In the meantime, be well and be kind.